session.
Okay, alright.
So lagi saya tidaklah panjang-panjang sangat. Hari ni doktor punya sesi. Saya moderator bidang terjun je.
Oh ya, tapi
Ya.
nampak macam dah penuh pengalaman tu.
Ya kak.
Jadi saya ni lah, saya yang share the PowerPoint ni kan.
PowerPoint doktor share.
Itulah cuma ni. Tapi macam mana ni doktor nampak macam mana? Dia masih lagi ada grey belakang gitu Ada lagi grey
Grey
tu.
tu ada. Tapi dia tak ganggu sangat lah. Kalau tulisan tu dekat atas. Yang ni tutup banyak sikit.
Nampak gitu.
Siap lah. Tak perlu buka tingkap saya.
Saya tak share lagi lah. Mula-mula jangan share lagi lah kot. No?
Doktor, mula-mula tu tak payah share lagi. Nanti masa kita nak start nanti baru doktor share.
Okay. Alright.
Doktor Nurul.
Dia keluar Ustaz.
Oh, keluar Ustaz. Okay. Tuan Haji bersiaran daripada mana?
Bersiaran daripada dalam bilik my son. Kat Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, KL. Tapi cakap Kedah.
Memang saya orang Baling.
Orang Baling. Oh, geng lah.
Apa dia?
Orang Baling kita kata ayak, bukan kita kata ayak, kita kata A.
Dia B tak ada, A ada. Aduh.
Lama dah tak balik Baling. Dengar tak ada cakap Baling lah.
Tak lah, saya dulu daripada dia sekolah Tuku Putra Baling tu kan, sekolah daripada umur awal sampai dia 6 lepas tu pergi Jenan. Lepas Jenan pergi belajar merantau sana sini ke sana, dia orang kata apa nak nama ialah orang Baling. Tapi belajar semua Kedah lah, orang kata kan. Kedah lah kan. Sekolah Kedah, secondary school Kedah. PhD pun Kedah. Tu yang penting tu.
Ya, kata.
Cuma apa nama universiti lah sikit. Universiti berdegree dulu buat dekat luar lah. Itu.
Saya attended.
Kita live FB juga Ainiza.
Ya, doktor.
Kita live FB
Orang FB lagi, doktor.
Okay. Macam mana nak buat ni?
Dr. Nurul. Mana Dr. Nurul?
Sorry, saya tak mute. Niza, tutup share screen Niza.
Okey Doktor, baik.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, this morning we are able to be here via Webex Bridging Theory Practice series organized by UMCOB and Islamic Business School. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself first. My name is Nur Azma binti Abu Bakar. I'm a senior lecturer from Islamic Business School. So I'll be your moderator for today's program. Okay, for today's session, the talk from our panel will be about 45 minutes, followed by Q&A session for 15 minutes. You can post your question in the chat. I will get the panel notified. Puan Niza from COB also will be alert on Q&A in FB. At the end of the session, Puan Niza will again share the QR code for all the participants to scan the attendance. So please wait until the end of the at the end of the Q&A session. So before we start, Dr. Razli, can you share your video? So before we start, let me give a little background about our panel today. Okay, so we have Haji Razli Ramli here. Haji Razli bin Ramli, he brings with him over 25 years of experience in banking and finance, with 20 experience in Islamic finance. So currently he is one of the Sharia committee members of a financial institution and as a director of business advisory department of a BNM. Okay, so without wasting our time, I'll invite Dr. Razli to start over. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Yang saya muliakan MC kita pada hari ini Dr. Nurul. Thank you very much for UUM, UMC, IBS because invite me again to have a session in this very auspicious event, very important event, especially talking about what happening in the industry, to disseminate all the knowledge, all the what's happening in industry to all the students, so that with the hope that all the students, whenever they enter into the industry, they have some knowledge, some experience, some expectations what they should do if they come and join the industry in the future. Just to to let you know that at the moment I am the Shanghai advisor for Banks International. Shanghai advisor for Banks International. I'm at the moment I'm also retiring already from my Majikan Islamic Banking and Finance Institute Malaysia. I'm not the director from Bank Negara. I'm director for Business Advisory Department in IFIM, Islamic Banking and Finance Institute of Malaysia. Now, let me start because we are going to have a session for 45 minutes talking about the very important subject today about microfinance. And then after that, we are open for the question and answers for 15 minutes. I hope that you can ask as many questions as possible. If your question has not been answered, maybe we will take the question and answer it later. We will publish, or we can let you know later the answers, because we are only having 1 hour today for this event, this session. Okay, let me start to share my slide. Okay, so the topic for today basically is on the microfinance from Islamic perspective, the story. Now, before we can continue with our session today, I hope that it is very important for all of us to understand what is microfinance first. So it's no point if you talk about microfinance, but for Islam, from Islamic perspective, if we do not really understand what microfinance is all about. Okay, so that is why I think that I'm going to explain to you first what is microfinance. What does it mean? What is the differences between microfinance, microcredit, and so on, and a few more important information, so that you can differentiate why we are doing the microfinance. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about microfinance, basically microfinance, we refer to the what if you look at the literature review, it's referred to the provision of basic financial services. Microfinance generally referred to the provision of basic financial services, such as loan, saving account, advances financing, insurance, takaful. For whom? For low income person, low income people. But this low income person must be economical active. Economical active. What does it mean? It means that this is the microfinance will be extended to the person who is in low income category, but he or she is basically an economical active person in the economy. They can create demand, they can create supply in the economy. So that is what the term microfinance is all about. Okay, so the term microfinance actually refer to the provision of small loan ataupun small financing, or sometimes they call it microcredit for the micro entrepreneurs. Micro entrepreneurs ni we are talking about those people who are low income, but they potentially can become economical active to ensure that the economy can grow. So that's point number one. Okay, the microfinance, what it's all about. Now, when we talk about microfinance as well, we must understand that microfinance is basically involved in supplying financial services. You know what is financial services? Financial services is the financial product. A financial product to who? To the disadvantaged population in the economy. Those disadvantaged populations who are excluded from the traditional banking system. Meaning that microfinance involves we supply the financial services to those population who are a disadvantage. Why disadvantage? Because they are not in the what we call it in the group of people who can do banking facilities with the bank. So that is the second definition, or what we can say is definition of the microfinance that we really need to know. So please put this one in your mind first. Now, so the idea was simple enough. It's very simple. So by giving, why microfinance is important? Because by giving this a very small loan, small financing to someone living in the very poor situation, poor country, a very low income family. So by giving that, we could help them, those people, to expand their small business. To expand their small business, which will definitely will help their family. Will help their family out of the poverty, for example. So that is the why it's important. Now, people will ask, why we like to talk about microfinance, Microfinance basically not giving the advantage in terms of giving the profit to the bank and so on. So one of the very important why microfinance is there is because of microfinance can provide resources and access to capital to the financially underserved market. Because you see, in the market, there are so many people who do not have access to banks, access to financial services offered by the bank. Some of them are underserved. Some of them are unserved. So these are the people that microfinance can help by giving them something like, for them some money, for them to do investment, and hope that they can help themselves and do not bring more what we call disadvantage to our economy. Okay, so that is microfinancing, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, understand this slide is basically we want to explain to you what microfinance is all about. Now, when we talk about this microfinance, then we have to see the what we call the supply side. Which institution supply this microfinance? So one of them is what we call it as microfinance institutions. Microfinance institution. What is this microfinance institution? Okay, the definition. I read one of the what we call the definition of microfinance institutions. Microfinance institutions offer microloans to borrowers along with assistance, even though these borrowers do not offer solid guarantee of repayment. So those institutions which doing microfinance, basically, they are extending the loan, extending the finance facilities to those people to those borrowers, to those customers who do not offer any solid guarantee of repayment. Meaning that the bank just give the money. I'm not sure whether the customer can pay them back. So that is basically what we call it, these institutions. The institution who willing to do that. They call it as the microfinance institution. Number 4, what is the difference between microfinance and microcredit? People will ask us, what is the difference? Microfinance, microcredit. We heard about microfinance, we heard about microcredit, but what are the difference between these two? So these are very important as well for us to understand. When we talk about microfinance, you must put this one into the context, in the right context. Microfinance is a financial services provided to small entrepreneurs and enterprises who do not get finance from the bank or any other established institution. That is microfinance. I repeat one more time. Microfinance is a financial services provided to the small entrepreneurs and enterprises who do not get finance facility from the banks or any other established institution. That is what we call microfinance. And what is microcredit? Microcredit is basically the small credit. It is a loan facility provided to the people, to those who have less earning and encouraged to become self-employed. Microcredit, okay, what is that? You know, some sort of loan, some sort of the facility, credit facility given to the people and ensuring that people to become self-employed. So that is a difference. Microfinance and microcredit. Okay, number 5, very important point as well. What is the risk of microfinance? You know, when we talk about risk in banking, banks normally they are very cautious. They are very serious when we talk about risk. So for you, if you put yourself as the bankers, what is the risk for microfinance? Okay, the risk ada dua. There are two risks. Number 1 is the credit risk, and the second one is the liability risk. Meaning that when you give loan, you give financing to the entrepreneur, to the SMEs, to the low income person. Okay, you have the credit risk, meaning that there is a possibility the customer will never pay back the loan or the financing. And also the liability risk. You are liable to take care of this what we call the customer of yours lah, of the banks. So when the risk for microfinance ada dua. There are two things. Number 1 is a credit risk, and the second one is liability risk. Okay, actually this risk is for the financial institution lah, for financial institution. Now, even though there are risks, but actually microfinance also contribute to the economic growth for a country. Okay, why? How microfinance contribute to the country, to the economic growth? Number 1, the microfinance is seen as to fix the credit market. Fix the credit market. What does it mean? Fix the credit market. They will offer. Okay, what happened here is that the microfinance will offer the credit facility to all segments of the market, the rich, the poor. So it will fix the credit market. And number 2, it can also unleash the productive capacity of the poor people. Sometimes the poor people, the disadvantaged people, disadvantaged population, they have ideas, they have the capability to contribute to the economy, but the things that hinder them to contribute is because of the capital. So that is why this microfinance play a very important role in encouraging in helping the economy as a whole. Okay, so meaning that the microfinance is basically number two. The two things here: how it is important, why, how it contribute to the growth of economy. Number one, microfinance can fix credit market, and second one, the microfinance also can unleash the productive capacities of the poor people. So everybody can play their roles in the market, in the economy. So it will become, it will contribute to the growth of the economy. Okay, so that is microfinance. So a little bit of history. I think most of you, when we talk about microfinance, okay, we remember one of the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. Dr. Muhammad Yunus, they always referred to as the bankers. He set up Grameen Bank in 1976 in Bangladesh, and people associate him, Dr. Yunus, as the banker of the poor. Banker of the poor. So that is why he's very, very what we call it, famous lah. When we talk about microfinance, we can never run away from the contribution done by our Dr. Muhammad Yunus, who are the Bangladeshi lah. Okay, so basically this Grameen Bank in 1976 in Bangladesh, the microfinance is basically the history starting in the small village in Bangladesh named Jobra. So, but of course, later this small type of the microfinance has transformed into become institutional by having the bank lah, by Grameen Bank in 1976, giving loan to the to the poor people, and they will pay back. Okay, so that is microfinance that you need to understand. Okay, now in this our topic today basically on Islamic on the microfinance. So I will touch a little bit on the prohibition. What is the differences between microfinance, normal microfinance, and the Islamic microfinance from perspective, right? So I'm also going to talk a little bit on the some of the loan sale partnership contracts of in microfinance, and lastly I will explain a little bit on the case study microcredit facilities available in Malaysia. Ada 3 bond financing for cash, cost plus sale asset financing, and diminishing partnership asset acquisition financing. These are what we are going to go through later. Now, ladies and gentlemen, microfinance from Islamic perspective. When we talk about Islamic microfinance, the definition that I made here is that Islamic microfinance is a category of financial services. Again, microfinance, always financial services, targeted at individuals, okay, you and me, and small businesses. Small meaning that it's not, the small SMEs, industri kecil dan sederhana and so on, but who lack access to banking and related financial services offered by the banks, which their financial activities are compliant to the Syariah principle, okay, and meeting the maqasid al-Syariah. Banyak ni, there's a lot of information inside here. You must understand, when we talk about Islamic microfinance, number one, microfinance basically financial services. What is the financial services? Loan, saving, takaful, and so on. Okay? Targeted to who? Individual and small businesses. Individual and small businesses who lack of access to banking, meaning that they are underserved. They are unserved people. They do not have access to banking, financial institution. Okay, but the financial activities done by them must be compliant to syarah principle. Must be compliant to syarah principle in meeting the maqasid syariah. Ini apa pula maqasid syariah ni? Maqasid syariah basically is the objective of syariah. What are the objective of syariah, ladies and gentlemen? What are the objective of syariah? We have five objectives. Protection of religion. That's number one. Number two, protection of your life. Protection of our life. Kehidupan, nyawa. That's number two. Protection of what else? Protection of our, what we call it, the protection of the keturunan, the lineage, descendant. You have to protect your lineage, your son, your anak pinak, your cucu cicit, and so on. That's number three. Protection of the intellectual properties. If you have your intellectual properties, you have your mind, your akal, your mind, and so on. You have to protect that. That's number four. Objective of Sharia. And last but not least is to protect your property. So in doing this Islamic microfinance, whatever activities that we are doing, you must bear in mind, it must protect all these five. This maqasid Sharia, objective of Sharia. You have to protect your religion, protect your life, protect your descendant, your lineage, protect your intellectual properties, and also protect your harta, your wealth, So these are very, very important definition that I think I want to share with you when we talk about Islamic microfinance. So you can differentiate between microfinance, a normal one, and the Islamic perspective. Next. So people will ask again, Sharia principle, what is, you are saying that financial activities must be compliant to Sharia principle. So what is Sharia principle? What is Sharia principle? So when we talk about Sharia principle, we are talking about a principle which emphasize on moral and ethical values in all dealings. If the microfinance, let's say we have a community who are doing the business activities which is not compliant to Sharia requirement, then it cannot be done. Okay, it cannot be done. So meaning that there is that whenever we talk about Sharia principle, one of the important Sharia principle must emphasize on the moral and ethical values. When we talk about the in finance, of course, I know everybody of you also know Sharia prohibits the payment and acceptance of interest, because interest is usury, or in Arabic we call it riba. No lending or accepting money, extra money from the loan that you give. Okay, as well as carrying out trade and other activities that provide goods and services considered contrary to the principle. So meaning that in finance, number one, you cannot take the interest. And the second one, make sure that the activities must be in compliance to the Sharia requirement lah. Talking about the moral of the activity, the ethical values of the activities, and so on. So that is Sharia principle when we relate it to the microfinance. Now, so what are the prohibitions? What are the prohibitions? In microfinance, whenever you want to help the people who are very low income and so on, So we must also keep this one in our mind. If their activity, if we want to help them, make sure that we help them to generate, to help them to do the business which is not contradict to the Sharia. That means that the what we call the activities that they done must not be involved in the Sharia prohibition. So what are the prohibitions? The Sharia principle requires activities that involved in microfinancing shall be free, must be avoided from all prohibited activities and immoral practices. Remember, there are two types here. Prohibited activities from Islamic perspective and immoral practices. I will list down later. Okay? Now, that's point one. Include, number one, business that involve non-permissible activities and unethical practices. That's number one. Paying and charging interest. Sorry, you cannot do that. I think you heard this one before. Uncertainty in the object of the financing. Okay, the price and the delivery, the garar part. And last one on the gambling part, the Maisir. I think this is the basic. I know very well whenever we talk about Islamic finance, what is Islamic finance? Islamic finance basically the finance activities which are done in accordance to Sharia. And what is Sharia? Sharia is Islamic law, and Islamic law prohibits these things in finance. What are the things that has been prohibited? No riba, no garar, no maisir. Always, everywhere. If you make the financial transaction free from this riba, garar, maisir, that finance activities will be compliant to Sharia requirement. So that's the thing that you need to have. Yeah, you need to know. Okay. What are the non-permissible activities? Okay, we can see here non-permissible activities. Yeah. Okay. What are the things? Conventional banking. SNC stand for Sharia non-compliant. SNC there. Conventional banking, SNC activities. Meaning that whatever conventional bank is doing, whatever the activities which is not comply to Sharia, you cannot do that. You know, conventional banking, normally they are doing the lending with interest. So lending with interest is not allowed. If they'll give loan only, they lend only, then okay. The one that prohibited is because they lend the money and they take interest. The taking of interest is the one that has not been approved by Sharia. Okay, we have conventional insurance. We have pork and pork-related activities. Non-halal food and beverages. Interest income from conventional accounts. Dividend from Sharia, non-compliant investment. You bought the shares and the share is not compliant, it's not the one listed in the Sharia compliant list. Then the dividend you receive from that particular shares is not going to become it's not going to become the halal income for you. Conventional shares trading, conventional stock broking, and other activities deemed non-Sharia compliant in accordance to Sharia. These are some of the non-permissible activities from Sharia perspective. Okay, non-permissible. How about another one? The immoral practices. The immoral practices, okay, the immoral practices involved in gambling, liquor, minum arak, the liquor, prostitution, Sharia non-compliance entertainment, dangdut, contohnya. You know, you pergi and then you go and the disco, for example. Tobacco and tobacco-related business. or any rental or fee you receive from Shariah non-compliance business and activities. Also, all these are immoral practices. You ask everybody, every human being in the world, is gambling good or not? Most of them say no. Liquor, prostitution, all these are immoral practices. From Islamic perspective, we consider it as immoral practices, and these immoral practices is not allowed. It's not permissible also in the whenever you do the microfinance and so on. If, for example, you the activities that you want to help to assist relates to all this, sorry, you cannot do that. So this is one that differentiate between microfinance from Islamic perspective that you need to know. Okay, this one a definition of ethical maybe can help you a little bit on the literature review on for you to write down, for you to do the report or whatever it is. The ethical, equitable, fair, and just dealing with people that, although pragmatically flexible according to the situation and time, conform to self-imposed high standard of public conduct. These are the definition that has been I copied from the business dictionary in the internet. Okay, I think my slide will be shared to all of you. You can request my slide. This slide is basically you can request from the IBS. I hope that IBS will release this slide to all of you. Okay, whoever listen today, if you really want to have the slide, you can have it from IBS, Islamic Banking School. Now, these are some of the products available in the market. Okay, I quote the microfinancing product that has been offered by Bank Simpanan Nasional. Bank Simpanan Nasional, they have around 9 products for microfinancing products. Okay, you can see that it is 4, and we have another 5 more later. Okay, this product basically BSN offering 2 types of product. The first one initiated by BSN, and the second one is the mandated scheme. Mandated scheme here meaning that the government will give the money to BSN for them to help the small entrepreneurs. Okay, that's what they call it, mandated scheme. So BSN offer 5 mandated scheme, and they themselves has create 4 products at the moment to the market lah. Okay, so meaning that BSN is one of the microfinance institutions. Microfinance institution, because they also offer the microfinance product. These are some of the list. As you can see there, there are BSN Micro, Thermo Niaga. Of course, this product is basically for to help the micro entrepreneur, the one that we have discussed. So you can have a look at the features there. Okay, short term, 1 to 5 years, up to 50,000. And number 2 is the Micro Teman Mesra. This one is actually for the micro enterprise fund to help the micro entrepreneur to grow businesses. But this one is different. Okay, there are a special market for this one. Okay, we have the BSN Micro Plus. This one for graduate. Objective is to graduate the existing microfinance customer to SME level, meaning that what happened here, this BSN Micro Plus is to help the customer, from the enterprise to become more successful, to make sure that they can expand their business. And we also have the BSN Micro PKBC, a microfinancing scheme. Actually this one is for the residents in the Perkampungan Baru Cina. So the very specific. These are some of the product that has been very specific microfinance to help the poor people. Okay, for this apa nama ni the mandated scheme done by BSN, they have 5 more BSN targeted relief and recovery apa nama facility. I think this one talking about the MCO because of the PKB, MCO and so on. So number 6, BSN agro food facility. This one is more on the food production and so on. BSN automation and digitalization facility. This is more on IT skit. Those who are apa nama ni, the SMEs who are good in the ITs and so on. They want to do some business in automation and digitalization. Yes, this is the microfinance product that they can choose from. BSN Micro Penjana, I think you know Penjana for tourism financing, tourism financing. And last but not least, the BSN Micro I Credit Prihatin, which is also given by the fund, given by the government to BSN, and BSN have the mandate to help all the entrepreneurs. So those of you who have the pakcik, makcik, who have the uncle, aunties, and so on, they want to do the business, for example, BSN is one of the bank that they can go and seek help. Okay, this is only 9, but there are a few more coming up by BSN. A few more coming up by BSN and still under the pipeline. Not only BSN, there are a few more banks, financial institutions offering the same thing. So please scout around. Please tell your friends, your uncle, your auntie, scout around. If they really need the help on the microfinancing, they can do so. Okay. Now, a contract of microfinance. Microfinance, one of the elements is basically financial services. When we talk about a normal, traditional microfinance, traditional account finance, normally they are talking about what? They are talking about what? They are talking about loans. A loan. You give loan, you give 100, you got back 100. But of course, in Islamic loans, sometimes the bank want to take a little bit of the cost. They need to have some of the profit. Because of that, Islamic microfinance, okay, even though they can do loan, they also do other type of contract, which is sale contract, partnership contract, and supporting contract. Okay, you can see here interest-free loan. If they give loan, they will never take back, and they will never take the interest. Okay, they give 1,000, they give 5,000, they take back 5,000. Okay, but if they want to cover some of their costs, then they can do other contract, sale contract, partnership contract, and supporting contract. I think you learn this one because Islamic finance is very wide. Okay, Islamic finance, basically they are using the contract, the financial contract is not only for loan, but for sale contract, partnership contract, and some of them are supporting contract. So interest-free loan contract, Qard, and Qard Hasan. I think you heard before, loan, and you give 1,000, you will pay back 1,000. No extra. Okay, no extra. So the difference between loan and benevolent loan, I give you 5,000 today, you must pay me back next month 5,000. That is loan. If benevolent loan, the second one, benevolent loan, I give you 5,000 today. If you have money, you pay me back. Wow, it's different. That's a different there. The first one, I give you 5,000. Next month, you give me back the 5,000. But the second one, benevolent loan, Qard Hasan, I give you 5,000. When you got the money, you pay me back. So that's the difference between these two. Okay, that is in Islamic. So that's interest-free loan contract. No extra. And you can, there are so many contracts for sale contract. But just to let you understand a few the contracts used by microfinance institutions whenever they offer their microfinance facility to the customer. Okay, some of them using the contract of murabahah. Murabahah means cost plus sale. The cost plus sale is a murabahah. Ijarah is leasing. And then we have the tawaruk arrangement. The tawaruk arrangement is basically buy and sell for cash. This is the what we call personal financing. It's more on the working capital financing, tawaruk arrangement using the murabaha contract. And we also have istisna. Istisna is the manufacturing of sale manufacturing contract, manufacturing sale. And last one we have salam. Salam is order sale. Okay, because you know why? Because whenever you can you go around and look at many banks, many financial institutions, those who are offering the microfinance facility, these are the what we call it, the contract used by them. So at least by having this class today, by having this session today, you know, when they talk about murabaha, they are talking about cost plus sale, leasing, tijara. Okay, our arrangement, buy and sell for cash, working capital arrangement. Is this not a manufacturing sale? Salam is order sale. Okay, so these are the type of the sale contract used by the financial microfinance institution. I call it microfinance institution. Partnership contract, we have two: mudarabah, trustee profit sharing, and musyarakah. Okay, the first one, mudarabah, the bank will give full capital to the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur will do the business. The bank has no involved in the business. If the business successful, then the customer will share the profit with the bank. That is mudarabah. Musyarakah, the bank and the customer will do the business together. Okay, we'll do the business together. So that is the difference between this partnership contract between the two. Okay, if you want to learn more about this, this is more on the what we call it, the application of Sharia in Islamic banking. I think there are many classes, many programs that has been done. And if you want to learn more about all the contracts, I think you should do is you can register in any of the training sessions done by any training institution in the industry. Even in the UUM also, the topic or the course also they teach us about this the contracts, financial contract in Islamic finance as well. Next one, supporting contract. These are part of the thing that I think all of you need to also know. Sometimes you come across the word kafalah. And kafalah. What is kafalah? Kafalah is guarantee. This is a normal, the normal words using in Islamic finance that everybody need to put all this in your mind, in your heart, in your as part of your life. Kafalah is guarantee. When you come across the word kafalah, meaning something to do with guarantee. Wakalah, agency. I appoint you as my wakil to do something, for example. That's wakalah agency. That's an agency agreement. Ujrah is fee. You do something, people will pay for your service. That is fee. That is ujrah. Ujrah is fee. Pawn is rahnu. Rahnu here means collateral of pawn. What we call you borrow the money, for example, from someone. So you give your gold or your asset to the lender. Okay, this is my asset as rahnu, as I pawn for you. Okay, I give you this collateral to you. If I didn't pay, then this what we call the collateral will become yours, for example. Okay, rahnu. Ibra, I think this one is very popular in Islamic finance. Ibra is rebate, or sometimes they call it discount. Rebate or discount. And last but not least is the wadi'ah. Wadi'ah is safe custody. So these are some of the difference between Islamic and conventional microcredit. Okay, when we talk about Islamic microcredit, Islamic microfinance, then prohibition element will come in. The contract and agreement use is different. It's depending on the relationship between the customer and the bank. Okay, the customer and the bank. It's not loan. It's not lender borrower. If sale, buyer and seller. If you're talking about leasing is hirer and owner, or lessee and lessor, for example. It's very, very important, the agreement. Okay, and some of the terminologies that should be used. So these are some of the differences that you need to take note of whenever we talk about microfinance in the Islamic perspective. Okay, these are some of the some of the prohibition: no interest, no ambiguity, zero-sum game, loan agreement, sale agreement, joint venture agreement, lease agreement. See, these are all the important point whenever we do microfinance. Again, please ask this slide. You can request this slide from IBS. You can have it later. Okay. And terminologies in Islamic finance, is Islamic microfinance. Please avoid the word, if, for example, you have loan. If it's not a loan facility, then don't use the word loan. Don't use the word lender, borrower. There is no interest rate. Okay, no interest rate. Okay, for sale contract, it not interest rate. It is a profit rate. Okay, and no repayment, installment and payment. These are some of the some of the what we call it, some of the terminologies that you need to take note of as well. Okay, again, interest rate when there is a loan contract, profit rate exists from buy and sell contract. Again, now let me tell you a little bit on the product available for microfinancing. This is the Ar-Rahnu. You go to the bank, you want cash, so they will do the tawaruk arrangement. Whenever they do the work, the tawaruk arrangement, then they will ask the gold from you. Rahnu gold kan? They will ask gold for you as what? As the kafalah, as the guarantor, as the collateral, or sometimes it is Rahnu. Rahnu here means collateral. And what is the asset? Marhum, what is the asset? The asset is gold. You go to the bank to get the cash. Especially the Ar-Rahnu is very famous in Kelantan. In Kelantan, for example, for the women in Kelantan, when they do the business in the pasar Khadijah, kat Kelantan. Whenever they do the business, they want some capital. They go to the bank, they go to Ar-Rahnu shop, they go to the bank, and they will say that, I need 5,000. This is my goal. Okay, after that, got the cash, they go and buy the supplier or whatever. They do the business. By tomorrow, then they will give back. They will get back their what we call it, their goal, and they pay back the loan that they take from the from the bank. These are the Ar-Rahnu. Ar-Rahnu is normally the thing that yang one of the product that normally used by the microfinance. Ar-Rahnu. Okay, Ar-Rahnu. Next one, cost plus sale asset financing. This is more towards the murabaha, murabaha agreement, of which sometimes the bank will help the customer if the customer really need to have the what we call the machine, for example. They want the machine. So what happened? The bank will buy the machine from the supplier, and then after that sell the machine to the customer at the markup price. Okay, and the markup price is very low. It's not like a normal markup price. Normally, markup price for the normal customer, they will go up to 7%, 8%. But for the for the microfinance facility, normally the markup price is very, very little, maybe 2%, 3%, and so on. BSN, Bank National, they are talking about 3 to 3.5% for your information lah. So this type of the cost plus sale asset management. And the last one, this is something to do with musyarakah mutanakisah. This is more on the musyarakah agreement, meaning that the bank and the customer will together buy the asset, and then every month now and then the customer will buy back the share. Okay, meaning that the customer let's say we have one asset, the machine, the bank pay 90%. Let's say the machine cost 10,000 bucks, 10,000 ringgit. So the bank will pay 9,000, the customer pay 1,000. So the bank basically own the machine 90%, the customer 10%. So every now and then the customer will pay back to the bank. when the customer pay back to the bank, they are buying back the share. Meaning that slowly and slowly, meaning that the ownership of the what we call it of the machine will become belong to customer, and the customer increase their share, the bank will reduce the share now and then until the end, where the customer get 100% of the share, and the asset will belong to the customer and the bank zero. Okay, so that is how sometimes this musyarakah mutanakisah or diminishing partnership contract used in the financial institution basically can help the microfinance in their apa nama ni their activities. Okay, so this is the example. Show you customer shares and bank shares. Until at last, the asset will belong to the customer. For the first at the initial part, the customer only get 10%, the bank 90%. But until the end of the tenure, the customer will get 100%, and the bank no more shares. So the asset will become belong to the to the customer. Okay, so that's about it. I can open this one for questions.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So from Q&A, we have one question here, two questions. The first one, I think, is that the microfinance institution, do they ask for something guarantee that their fund payback? And the second one is that, can the investment of banks in the firm share considered as musyarakah? So this is the question.
What is the question? The second question again?
Can the investment of banks in firms share considered as musyarakah?
Can what? I did not understand the question. Can the investment of the bank
in the firm, in the firm share,
okay,
considered as musyarakah?
Okay, let me answer the second question first, because the second question is basically talking about the sharing, kan? See, the firm normally if the firm normally do not have shares in the listed in the bursa. So when you normally the company, the Berhad company normally have the shares in the bursa. Okay, let's say the question is talking about the syarikat Berhad, syarikat Berhad who are listed in the bursa. Yes, whenever the bank, if the bank buy the shares of that particular particular shares in the bursa, then automatically it's something to do with musyarakah. Okay, because they are buying the shares. But if the bank invests in the firm, one of the company, they invest for what purpose? You can see the meaning of what is the purpose of investing in that firm. If, for example, the bank invests in that particular firm, if they extend the what we call it, the working capital, okay, they give the money, kan? What are the contract between these two? If, for example, the contract is on musyarakah or mudarabah, then meaning that there is more on the partnership contract. It will be totally based on the contract between the bank and that particular firm. You see, if they are buying the shares of that firm, so this is different. Buying the shares of the unlisted shares, for example, that may be musyarakah. If the bank has the what we call it, the share, the say, the vote in that particular firm, it may be musyarakah. Okay, because they own the company and so on. Okay, but I'm not sure whether the bank can own the company. Okay, because as far as I know, I'm not too sure. I'm not good on that particular, but maybe they can find further lah, yeah, find further information on that. The second one, the first one, the first question, guarantee or not? What is the that's all? I can't hear you. Apa nama, Dok?
Sorry, saya unmute tadi. So I think the question is microfinance institution ask for something guarantee, I think maybe
Okay.
collateral so that
Okay.
they get their fund back?
Okay. Now, you see, it's depending on the requirement of that particular bank. Okay, but most of the apa nama ni the bank, they do not have the they do not need to have the apa nama ni for the guarantee. Especially you can see like the BSN product that I told you just now kan. The BSN, they have 9 products, 4 products from the bank themselves, they initiate from the bank, and 5 products from the government. The money is mandated from the government to the bank, and the bank will release the money to the customer, for example. So that kind of mandated we call it mandated apa nama ni schemes, normally no collateral. Okay, that one, the purpose is very clear, is to help the poor, and you know the poor do not have any asset to do whatever it is, kan? So normally no collateral on the mandated part, but on the initiate part, maybe they can ask, maybe not. But it is more flexible if you compare to other type of the financing lah. Okay, to answer this question, number 1, guarantee or not guarantee, do net collateral or not. For the mandated scheme, definitely no collateral. But for the one that initiated by the bank, by the microfinance institution, maybe they want, maybe they not. But normally not. But normally they will ask as well. So that's what I can say at the moment for this particular answer, for the particular questions. Okay, any other questions?
Okay, so I think there is no question from FB, only 2 questions here. That's it, I think. So, all right, Doctor, I think that's it. Thank you, Dr. Razli. So, on behalf of the organizer, UMCOB and IBS, I would like to extend our gratitude that you are willing to spend your time today to share your experience and your knowledge from the industry on this microfinance topic. Thanks also to all the participants that stay until the end of this session. Puan Niza, could you share the QR code for the attendance purposes? So I would also like to apologize for any shortcoming from me and the organizer from this talk. So we hope to see you again in the next series. So okay, so the next session will be on 30 March 2021 on Tuesday. We're back again. So the topic will be unleashing the potential of entrepreneurship education to accelerate women entrepreneurs in digital economy. Our panel, Dr. Adibah Abdul Bari, the director and founder of True Looks Global Groups. So we hope to see you again in the next session. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Haji Razli. Thank you again. So that's it from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think Niza, we have to have one session of sesi bergambar. You may
Masuk balik,
stop
masuk balik.
sharing. Kena masuk balik. Nak gambar je doktor.
Okay.
Oh, banyak attendees dah left pula.
Ada?
Ada yang dah left. Okay, tak apa. So, Puan Niza, boleh kita tutup skrin kejap? Kita tengok gambar kejap untuk siapa attendees yang tinggal.
Kau saya okey
Mhm.
Tak nampak perut
So, attendees please yang mana tinggal lagi boleh buka, yang mana ada boleh buka start your video. Niza mana Niza? Whiteboard boleh tutup tak? Sorry. Yang kamera kita tak boleh on, tak apa. Kita tangkap gambar yang mana partisipan ada.
Gambar saya ada
Gambar doktor ada, orang penting kena ada.
Ya ke? Nanti saya akan pass over the slide dan notes kepada doktor. I message lah, WhatsApp kat you lah. Then from there you boleh share lah dengan all the participants yang ada lah.
Sure, nanti kita tengok medium apa kita boleh share the slide. So, okay.
Nampak muka saya seorang saja ni?
Okay.
Okay, doktor, thank you very much.
Okay, dah, done.
Aniza dah boleh live ke?
Okay doktor, settle dah semua.
Alright.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak Dr. Razli, Dr. Nurul.
Ya,
Okey.
sama.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.